Hi everyone, welcome to Oracle Enterprise Manager video training series. My name is Yutaka Tokatsu. I'm one of the product managers in Enterprise Manager product management team. In this video, we'll talk about always-on monitoring, or AOM in short, which is one of the major features introduced in the Enterprise Manager 13C. AOM provides continuous monitoring during the planned Enterprise Manager downtime and sends email notification to administrators for critical alerts. And here is today's agenda. I'll first talk about the overview of always-on monitoring. Then we'll see the demonstration. And lastly, we'll go through the list of FAQs that are commonly asked by customers. So today's topic is always-on monitoring. But before jumping into that, let's quickly review the Enterprise Manager infrastructure in high level. Right-hand side of the screen shows a simplified diagram of components in Enterprise Manager Cloud Control 13C. But there are really three core components we have: Oracle Management Repository, or OMR, Oracle Management Server, or OMS, and agents. When compared to human body, OMR is the heart of Enterprise Manager. It is responsible for storing critical data. OMS is a brain. It is a centerpiece of product and handles all the activities that go within the Enterprise Manager. And agents can be compared to nerve endings that gather vital information from target and then send it to OMS. OMS then communicates with OMR and takes care of the rest of the work. So this is how Enterprise Manager works. Only when these three components work together, Enterprise Manager provides complete monitoring solution to your on-premise and cloud environments. So always-on monitoring. Why did we build this? It is because there is a time when these three components, OMR, OMS, and agent, do not work together. And that is particularly when you have Enterprise Manager downtime. That happens when you are applying patches or upgrading Enterprise Manager, and most likely at the time, you'll need to bring down OMS and OMR. When this happens, there will be no alerting to the targets you are monitoring, and no notifications are sent to administrators even though the targets are having problems. So this was a problem for many Enterprise Manager customers, raised and discussed for a long time. In Enterprise Manager 13C, we introduced always-on monitoring to meet our customers' demand and address the problem of no monitoring during the Enterprise Manager downtime. Basically, AOM is a life support for EM when there is undergoing maintenance. It provides continuous monitoring of targets during the Enterprise Manager downtime. And AOM is a lightweight Java application, which is completely independent from Enterprise Manager. So it runs standalone, so no matter what the status the Enterprise Manager has, AOM can continue to run. And key features. Always-on monitoring, as the name states, provides 24/365 monitoring of Enterprise Manager targets. And because the installation is completely separate and independent from EM, it can be always on regardless of the status of Enterprise Manager. AOM receives target availability events and metric alerts from agents in parallel to what agent does with OMS. So basically, agent sends this information separately to both OMS and AOM. Then AOM sends email notifications to users who are listed in the downtime contact target property. And this downtime contact is a new target property which is introduced in 13C along with AOM. And this needs to be configured as a part of AOM setup. Basically, when AOM receives alert information from agent for a specific target, it looks up the target property for that target, and if it finds a downtime contact defined, then it sends out email notification to the email address of that contact. This can be configured at the global level, which includes everyone, or at the target-specific level that only contains users who are interested to monitor a specific target. There is also an API that generates a list of downtime contacts for that target. So let's take a look at the architecture. The diagram on this slide shows how AOM works. In a traditional enterprise manager environment, once again you have OMS, OMR, and agent. The agent monitors targets, collect information, and send that information back to OMS. OMS processes the data received, then writes to OMR or reads information from OMR. Over here, we have AOM and AOM repository. The AOM talks to the AOM repository just like OMS does to OMR. AOM service synchronizes with the Enterprise Manager repository to retrieve the latest target properties and email recipient for downtime contact. So this is the information of what to monitor and who to notify. There is one-time setup you have to perform in order to have agents send alerts to AOM. Once AOM is installed and configured, you need to run a command from Enterprise Manager to upload AOM URL to agents. Basically, this is a step to let agents know the location of AOM. So once this is done, EM pushes the URL to all agents, also to the future agents that will be deployed. So again, this is a one-time setup. And from that point, the agent will send alerts to both OMS and AOM service. So at the time of planned maintenance, you may bring down OMS and OMR. But AOM remains operational and will continue to monitor targets and send email notification in case of critical failures in those targets. Now let's see the demonstration. The demo will take around 10 minutes. But before jumping into the demo, let me go through the assumptions and flow of the demo. First of all, in this particular demo setup, we assume Enterprise Manager and the target server, which is monitored by Enterprise Manager, are up and running. And the target server we use in this demo is a WebLogic server. And you plan to stop Enterprise Manager as a part of your scheduled downtime. And you have already configured and started AOM, so it is up and running. But you have not started the AOM notification yet. So at this point, the notification is disabled, and that is a default setting. Also, you configure the downtime contact, which is a user who receives notification mail from AOM. So during the demo, you want to enable AOM's notification before you put Enterprise Manager to a downtime so that you can continue to monitor the target WebLogic server and receive notification in case anything happened to that server. And during the downtime, for any reason, the target WebLogic server stops, perhaps unexpected failure. But because you have AOM up and running, it sends you notification mail for this failure, although Enterprise Manager is down. So these are the physical and behavior assumptions of the demo. And the right-hand side of the screen shows the demo flow. The first thing we're going to do is to make sure that OMS and the target server, which is WebLogic server in our case, are up and running. Then verify the AOM status, whether it is running or not, whether the notification is enabled or not, and based on the status, we're going to enable AOM notifications. Then stop OMS as a part of your scheduled maintenance, and stop the WebLogic server for a demo purpose, then receive notification in email. And once the Enterprise Manager is back in service, we are going to disable AOM notification. So these are the steps of the demo. So let's start the demonstration. So what I have here is Enterprise Manager 13C open in my screen. I already have my credentials typed in, so I'm going to click the button to log in to the Enterprise Manager web client. Click. And here is my middleware homepage. I already have 2 WebLogic domain target configured, expanding this node. And here is the WebLogic server I am interested in. The name of the server is admin server, and the current status is up and running. I also have a web page of this WebLogic application, so I want to verify whether it is running or not by looking at the web page. So I'm going to click the second tab of this browser where it says Oracle WebLogic Server. Click. And here is the login page of my WebLogic application. And this is the target server I want to continue to monitor during the Enterprise Manager downtime. So just to recap, as mentioned in the assumption section, in this particular demo setup, AOM is already running, but the notification is not enabled yet. So let's first check the AOM status. I'm opening a terminal window in the machine where I have AOM installed. And from the AOM home directory, I'm going to type down a command that shows us the status of AOM. Press enter. The command has executed. Wait for some time. Here came back the result. So looking at the status message came back, AOM has started on July 25th, 8:35 a.m. PDT. So AOM has been running since this time. Also down here, I see notification enabled parameter set to false, which means notification is not enabled. So at this point, notification is not started, and that is a default setting. I also see one downtime contact configured, and this is a user who receives an email notification from AOM if notification is enabled. And for this demo setup, I only have one downtime contact configured, but you can have many downtime contacts as you wanted to. Okay, so from the status message, I confirmed that the AOM is running, but the notification is not enabled. So the next thing I want to do is to start up the notification. So I'm going to type another command to start the notification. Press enter. The message already returned saying notification has been enabled. So at this point, the notification has started. The command is still executing, so wait for some time. And came back the result. In default settings, AOM synchronizes with Enterprise Manager repository once in 24 hours. So you can change the frequency, but this is what we have in default. In addition to that, whenever you enable notifications or when you run a sync command, it does an incremental sync. So what happened here, in addition to enabling a notification, was a synchronization with the Enterprise Manager repository. So it synchronized with target data, alerts and availability data, notification, metadata, target metric metadata, and completed the synchronization. Okay, so now the AOM notification is started. I am ready to put my Enterprise Manager to a downtime. And in this particular demo setup, I have AOM and Enterprise Manager installed in the same machine. So I'm going to switch to the Enterprise Manager home directory and type in a command to stop OMS. Please note, however, from 13.2, AOM and OMS can be installed in different machines, and that is a recommended setup in order to avoid single point of failure. But for this particular demo setup, they just reside in the same box. So I'm going to execute a command to stop OMS. And currently stopping the Oracle Management Server. This may take some time. And here came back the result. The message says Oracle Management Server successfully stopped and the server is down. So now Enterprise Manager is in the downtime. I want to verify that in the browser window. So I'm going back to the first tab of the browser where I left the Enterprise Manager web page open. Click. And here I am back at the middleware homepage. I still see the contents though. But if I take a closer look at the upper right side of the screen here, I see red lights, which indicates this web client is no longer able to communicate with Oracle Management Server. So all the information you see here is obsolete. This is not the current status of your target. So Enterprise Manager is officially down. The next thing I want to do is to purposefully close down my WebLogic server for demo sake so that I can test out AOM ability. So I'm going to open another terminal window, but this time in the machine where I have WebLogic installed. And from the command line, I'm going to type down a command to stop the WebLogic server. Press enter. Type down my sudo password. Press enter. Here came back the result. Now the WebLogic server is stopped. I also want to verify this in my web browser. So I'm going back to the second tab of the browser where I left my WebLogic login page open. Click. But I can't see the contents. it is unreachable. This is apparently because I purposefully shut down the WebLogic server. So this is a situation. Your target is down during the Enterprise Manager downtime. And because the Enterprise Manager is down, OMS, a centerpiece of EM, is also down and unable to send out notifications. However, because you have AOM up and running as a separate and independent entity, also because you started the AOM notification, you should be able to receive notification in email from AOM, although Enterprise Manager is in downtime. So let's prove that. I'm going to open a mail client, Thunderbird in my case, and I apparently received a bunch of email from AOM around the same time. So I'm going to open the top message from my mailbox, and the subject says, failed to connect to the WebLogic server. And the name of the target is admin server, which is the WebLogic server I just shut it down. Severity is fatal, availability status is down, but most importantly, if you take a closer look at the bottom of the message, sent by Oracle Enterprise Manager OS Monitoring. So this message was sent by AOM, not by OMS. So this demonstrated the ability of AOM to send out email notifications during the Enterprise Manager downtime. And lastly, let me quickly show you how you can disable the AOM notification. Once the Enterprise Manager is back in service, you no longer need AOM to send you notifications because OMS is going to do that for you. In this case, you can keep the AOM running, but only turn off the notifications. So let's see how we can do that. I'm going back to the Enterprise Manager web client because it's back from the downtime. Log in. And here I am back at my middleware homepage, and I see blue lights this time at the upper right side of the screen, which indicates a successful communication with Oracle Management Server. So Enterprise Manager is back in service. The next thing I want to do is turn off the AOM notification because I don't want to have a duplicate messages, one from OMS, one from AOM. I don't want to have that. So I'm going to open a terminal window in the machine where I have AOM installed. And from the AOM home directory, I'm going to type down a command to stop the notification. The name of the command is disable notification. Simple as it is. Press enter. Now the notification has disabled. Please keep in mind, however, I only turn off the notification. The AOM service itself is still up and running. So next time you have Enterprise Manager downtime, you can simply come back here, enable back the AOM notification, and you can continue to monitor targets and receive notification mail from AOM if anything happened to those targets during the Enterprise Manager downtime. So this concludes the demonstration of OS monitoring. So let's go back to the slides. Next, let me talk about the current limitations we have with OS monitoring. This is the first release, and we know it is not perfect yet. We started from what we can do. So there are open enhancements that we are aware, which will remain limitations for now. The first limitation we have, after OMS comes up from maintenance, it will receive queued notification from the agent. The OMS will send the same notification as AOM. This happens because agent queue up the alert information when OMS is down and flushes them out to OMS once it is back. So during the Enterprise Manager downtime, AOM will send notification if anything bad happened to that server. And once OMS is back in service, OMS will send the same notification to administrators. So basically, you end up having duplicate messages. This is the first limitation. The second limitation we have, AOM does not currently honor incident rules and advanced notifications. The notifications in AOM are based on downtime contact of the target. And this is the only source to determine how to send out notifications for AOM. So any additional computation done at the OMS side is not supported. That includes incident rules, corrective actions, and advanced notifications such as PL/SQL, SNMP traps, and OS commands. And with the same reason, notification blackout is not supported as well. AOM still sends out notifications during the notification blackout period. In case of blackout, however, as agents do not monitor targets in that case, no alerts are sent to AOM. And because no alerts AOM receives, it will not send out notifications. Next limitation, AOM will send out notifications for target availability, metric alerts, and metric collection errors. There is no switch to configure which type of alerts to enable or disable. So currently, when you enable notification, it enables all types of notifications. When you disable them, it disables all type of notifications. The request here is to have granular option to select which alert type to enable or disable. For example, target availability only. And this is also the limitation that we are aware and working on. And lastly, AOM notifications are sent via emails only. So we are aware of requests from many customers for adding more types of notifications, such as SNS messages. But at this point, supported notification is email only. Lastly, let me share the frequently asked questions that we have from customers so far, because you might have the same questions. The first question is always-on monitoring repository database included in Enterprise Manager's restricted use of license? The answer is no. AOM repository is not included in the restricted use license. So if you are to install AOM repository in a brand new machine, you need a database license for that. On the other hand, AOM database is very lightweight, so we do not think it requires a dedicated system to host that database. So if you have database license already, then you can set up AOM repository in one of the database systems that you already have with. But just please do not install in-host where you have Enterprise Manager database to avoid a single point of failure. At least it should be installed in a separate host from the OMR. And you may wonder whether AOM is licensed product or not. The answer is no. AOM itself is not the licensed product. You only need to have license for AOM repository. The second question, does AOM need to be installed on the same host as the OMS? This is yes for 13.1, but no for 13.2. We had a limitation in 13.1 that AOM and Enterprise Manager have to be installed in the same machine. But in Enterprise Manager 13.2, this is no longer a limitation, so they can be installed in a separate machine. Actually, that is a recommended setup to avoid a single point of failure. Next question, does AOM directly communicate with the OMS? The answer is no, the AOM does not talk to OMS. It only talks to OMR as a part of the synchronization. And that is how it is designed, so that it can be independent from OMS as much as it can. The next question, do we support AOM 13.2 with EM 13.1 agents? The answer is no. AOM 13.2 works with agent version 13.2. AOM 13.1 works with agent version 13.1. So basically, it requires the same agent version. The next question, how do I receive alerts from AOM only for mission-critical targets, but not from the non-mission critical targets? Basically, you can do this by setting a downtime contact only to the mission-critical targets. In AOM, notifications are based on downtime contact. That is the only source for AOM in terms of where to send notifications. So if targets have downtime contact defined, then AOM will send out the notifications. But if the targets do not have downtime contact defined, no notification will be sent to those targets. Will EM patching or upgrade downtime be reduced if I use AOM? The answer is no. AOM does not affect the length of the EM downtime. The purpose of the AOM is to provide monitoring during the Enterprise Manager downtime, but it is not a tool that reduces the downtime window itself. Can AOM automatically enable notification during unplanned downtime? Unfortunately, the answer is no. AOM cannot automatically enable notification during the unplanned downtime. AOM is designed for planned downtime primarily, so it does not consider the use cases of unplanned downtime at this point. For unplanned downtime, please consider setting up the HA for OMS for a more robust solution. And last question, should we use AOM instead of EMHA? And as already mentioned above, answer is no. AOM can be a part of your Enterprise Manager HA solution, but does not replace HA. AOM basically is a utility that provides continuous monitoring during the planned downtime of Enterprise Manager. So this concludes the AOM overview presentation.